Hello, my name is Brittany Carter, and today I will be presenting to you an adapted instrument for individuals with hearing loss. Hearing is the primary sense that develops speech and language. Hearing impairment is defined as a disability that affects the ability to process linguistic information. And hearing loss can range from mild to profound, or hard of hearing to deaf. So, underneath hard of hearing, there's a range between mild and moderate. And underneath deaf, there's a range between severe and profound. So deaf is defined as the hearing loss of 90 or more, also known as profound. Severe would be right before that. Primary means of communication is through visual channels, visual aids. Residual hearing is a non-function of processing speech. And the misconception that was identified is that a lot of people feel that when you hear the word deaf, it means that they are 100% at 0 points of hearing. And so that's the misconception, but very few people have 0 hearing at all. Hard of hearing, response to speech and auditory sounds, use of residual hearing and hearing aids, slight to moderate hearing loss. So underneath here, I have shown the range of each level of hearing loss under hard of hearing. So slight from 27 to 40, mild from 41 to 55 decibels, and moderate from 56 to 70 decibels. The measurement of hearing. So sound is made through vibrations. Vibrations travel at different speeds through sound waves. Rhythm perception. The oral discrimination of varying lengths of sound. The intensity of the sound is measured by decibels. So, through vibrations, you have sound waves, and those sound waves move at different waves per second that are called frequency. And the frequency allows you to identify if it's a lower sound or a higher sound. You're able to identify that by the speed of the waves. So if the waves are slower, the sound is lower. If the waves are faster, the sound is higher. You also can identify how loud a sound is or how soft a sound is by the height of the wave. So if it's a taller wave, then it is a louder sound, and if it's a shorter, smaller wave, it is a softer sound. The adaptability of music makes it accessible for people with all disabilities. So adaptations that you can use within music classroom, music therapy sessions. First, you can look at the environment for listening. Make sure the room is quiet or as quiet as you can get it, and reduce the sound from other sources. Earphones can be used in order to block out those extra sounds, and make sure that you use quality equipment, sound equipment. When picking songs are better if they're familiar. The lyrics are repetitive, or the rhythm or melody are repetitive. And turn off music when giving instructions. Also, I will add that you should make sure you're facing them. They can see your mouth and your eyebrows, and that you are giving simple directions. More adaptations that go along with this. Movement activities. So adjust the use of manipulatives to avoid entanglement of wires. Those wires coming from hearing aids and other technology that allows the hearing to be amplified. Avoid large motor skills. That also goes along with those wires that come along with it. So there is no, incidents that'll happen because of, and then use quality instruments. And that goes along with using quality sound equipment. Also, in a listening activity, listening should be broken down into short sessions. For receptive sessions, you want to break them up, focus on the rhythm first, and then add the other aspects to it, and then provide copies of lyrics when you are looking at songs that are not instrumental. So I looked at the ORF method because it went along with the adapted instrument. So the ORF method, just a quick overview of what that is. It was created by Carl Orff. And Carl Orff's methodology seeks to develop a process which encourages musicality and creativity in young children. The ORF approach is a progression of experiences that do not follow a particular order, but may be implemented in an order if desired. So I added a little illustration to this. ORF instruments are basically started off as xylophones, marimbas, glockenspiels, barred instruments, but they also incorporate other percussive instruments as well, as you can see in this illustration that I've added to the slide. ORF method with the hearing impaired would also add to the experience. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as I go on. So, ORF instruments. ORF instruments, just like I said in the last slide, developed by Orff himself, include miniature xylophones, marimbas, glockenspiels, and metallophones. Also, I identified vibraphones as something that is close to that as well. It wasn't in the description, but they are in the same family. All instruments have removable bars. So I added a picture for those who aren't aware of what a xylophone looks like. So this is it. They are held by little fasteners, but they're able to be removed for different activities, or if you wanted to add accidentals and things like that. So my adapted instrument, how I made it. So I will tell you about the actual materials that would be used and then the materials that I use. So the wood frame, and then there's an extra insert that comes along with it for stationary activities. And again, that's made out of wood. I use cardboard, metal pads. So the metal pads are basically the bars. And as I'm adding this, you can kind of see that I'm going along with the same idea of the xylophone, mellotophones family. So the metal pads, bars, and I used cardboard to also illustrate that, wrapping that in foil. I use color codes on each bar that also shows the letter, and that'll come along with different activities that are color coded for those visual aids. Rubber and nail fasteners to keep them in place. Wire rubber cords. So the cords that I use, I would move more to the rubber cords. I use string to illustrate that. And then the ear clip that goes along with it. How it works. So the concept of a bell set, again, or a xylophone, you strike it to make the sound. It can be hung or laid flat, positioned on a stand. Sound travels through the wires and then reaches the ear by way of vibrations. And the larger pads play lower sounds and gradually gets higher as the pad sizes get smaller. So here is the concept, inspiration to this instrument. So we all know back when we were younger, they used to do a little activity, little thing where you play around with cans and string. And when you spoken to that can, the sound moved and went to the other person. And the way that the other person was able to hear you was through the vibration. So this picture basically kind of illustrates it a little better with words, that the sound vibrates and the vibration goes to the string. Our ears collect the sound vibration, sends them to our brain, and then we hear sound.
Okay, mic check. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Jack, you want to check your mic? Okay. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3.
So here is my instrument, best explained as I can. So this is my adapted instrument. And how I can explain this, as I have already talked about in my presentation, it's basically along the same line as a xylophone. And so you have your bars here. If you notice, the back is out because the idea is that it would be hung. It would be hung, and if it's not hung, if you want to lay it down flat, there's an insert. And the insert just goes on the back, just like an actual xylophone. So as you notice, it also has color coding and the letters for each pitch. So again, my idea came from the cans with the string. So if you notice, by looking at this, each bar has a string that comes from it. When you strike it, the vibrations go through the string, and then they conjoin together by 1, and then this string comes up and it attaches in like an ear clip of some kind. You could do 1 for, possibility of the unilateral, I believe that's what it's called, the unilateral hearing loss, which is in 1 ear, or if it's coming from both. The bilateral, you can put it in 2 ears. And so yeah, so again, each vibration comes from it. And I guess the idea for me was that as the vibrations come through, you are able to, even if it's for severe or profound hearing loss in that range, even if they're not actually hearing the pitch, they are able to identify the vibration of lower sounds and higher sounds because of the frequency. So as we learned in the reading, that sounds that are lower in pitch are slower in frequency, and pitches that are higher, sounds that are higher, are faster in frequency. Also, we've also learned that if a sound is louder, or those sounds that are louder, the sound waves are a lot larger, and when a lot taller. And if it's a softer sound, the sound waves are lower. They're smaller in height. And so yeah, so this again was the idea that I came up with as far as allowing those pitches to travel through sound. Through the string wouldn't be actually a string, it would be a wire, but it's the same concept. So with this, it can be hung, almost with the idea of like a triangle in a sense. It can hold up, and the sound is basically in the middle. I feel like it resonates more because it doesn't have the back part to it. But then if it needs to be stationary and laid down flat, it does have the insert to hold it down. So I named it the checkboard 2 because when you're trying to do a microphone check, most times you'll hear that testing, or mic check 1, 2, 1, 2. So it was just kind of going along with, making sure that they are able to hear or recognize the sound in some way to connect to the musical experience. So I hope it made all kinds of sense. I really tried my best to illustrate it the best way I can, and thank you. All right, so the last part I did to this was to add other revisions and other adaptations that I could to perfect or even alter what I've already done. So I said that I could add a kickstand or pedal. So this idea was for those who can't strike, if they have some other muscular disability that doesn't allow them to use those fine motor skills right away. And we can build up to it, but just to start off so that they are still able to use the instrument, there's a little kickstand. So the kickstand, the pedal goes with each one. So it would have to be a small one for each one. And the part that hits, it would hit it that way. Okay. The other I wanted to add would be a microphone clip. And as you can see in the instrument that I've shown, it's something that's used already where you clip the little mic onto it and then you can attach it to an amplifier. And this could be used for people who have mild hearing loss and they don't actually need that part that's attached, but they still need to hear it resonate just a little bit more. So the microphone clip would work for that. Also visual aids, and I talked about this before, but that's the reason why I put those color codes there, so that they are able to follow along, even if they still have not fully identified how the letters and things of that nature. They can use the codes to make sure they are still following along within this experience. All right, so that is my adapted instrument for individuals with hearing loss. Check 1, 2. Bye. Thank you.